Now, US President Donald Trump has made a plea for Americans to move on from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Trump had spent months trying to block the disclosure of millions of files linked to the late sex offender Epstein before relenting late last year. He now says the latest release of documents and photos has cleared him of any wrongdoing.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else, really. Now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people.
All right, let's get more on this from Matthew Sheffield. He's a former Republican media consultant, now a writer and podcaster at Flux, a media company. Matthew, thanks for making the time. Let's just pick up on what we just heard. A conspiracy against Donald Trump. As a former consultant, is that fact, spin, or something in between?
I would say that it is definitely spin because what we see in the emails, several of them, including Jeffrey Epstein emailing with the American billionaire Peter Thiel, expressing talk about what can Trump say in this situation? What's he going to do here? He can't release his tax records, so maybe he should do this and that. And so what we see is that while he is currently indicating he's not a supporter, Trump is indicating he's not a supporter of Epstein or friendly with him. That's not what the documents show. And we see further that, as the administration had admitted, and several news outlets have reported that they tried to scrub his name from many of the files and references to him. But this is such a large document dump that it is basically impossible to do that. And so there are a number of allegations in there about Trump, including testimony that was given to the FBI about him and law enforcement officials, including somebody saying that he had threatened her family if she were to talk about him publicly.
Right. Despite all of this, it is Bill and Hillary Clinton who are set to testify in a congressional investigation on the whole Epstein affair. What do you make of these plans?
Well, that is the case, but because of the separation of powers in the United States, the current sitting president cannot be, or by custom, cannot be compelled to testify before the Congress. So we have not seen Trump requested to appear before it, but we have, as you said, seen that the Congress has requested former President Bill Clinton to testify. So, and he did resist it for a while, but then has eventually agreed to do so. And this was a bipartisan request of him. I should note that the Democrats on the committee, the relevant committee, did also request that he show up to discuss his relationship with Mr. Epstein.
But isn't the Clintons' planned appearance also a break with the president?
There have been some voluntary and let's say, less adversarial instances where they have agreed to testify on it, but it wasn't in any sort of evidentiary way, as you're talking about here. So yes.
Now, President Trump has called the Clintons' appearance, the planned appearance, a shame. Help us understand why he is saying that when earlier he had in fact railed against the Clintons and even called the Epstein affair a Democrat problem.
Yes, that's correct that he had in fact said that previously, and had said also that he was going to direct people to investigate the connections between Epstein and Clinton. Now, with regard to his current remarks, I mean, that's the thing about Trump. He doesn't have a commitment to saying what's true. He has a commitment to saying what is useful to him in the given moment. And so that is why he continually contradicts himself. People sometimes have used this as evidence that he has some sort of mental incapacity, but really it's more that he is just changing his story to whatever suits what he thinks his current interest is.
Why is this his current interest? And should we be attaching importance to also the midterms that are approaching later in the year?
I think, yes, this is definitely going to be bearing down very importantly in the midterm elections. There's been a pretty sizable number of people who have said that Trump's refusal or to cooperate generally with the Epstein files, which is why there had to be a law passed to force him to disclose the documents. That has hurt a lot of his supporters, including the very major podcaster Joe Rogan, who had said that he was very strongly against Trump's behavior, and then a number of his former prominent supporters have said they no longer can support him based on his conduct and also the contents of the Epstein files.
So are you saying that basically his MAGA base is unhappy with the way President Trump is seen to be handling his alleged involvement in the Epstein affair?
Well, the interesting thing about the way that Republican media works in the United States is that right-wing media actively censors stories from their audiences. And so many, I would say probably most Republicans who watch shows like that are offered by Fox News or Newsmax or other entities like that, many of them actually have no idea just how much has come out within these files and the outrageous disclosures that we've seen. But yeah, so basically this is Trump kind of trying to say that this is unfair to Bill Clinton, that he is being made to testify, and that they're being unfair to him, just like they, whoever they is, of course, never defined. But this is they're being mean to him, just like they were mean to me, and so he's trying to evoke sympathy for himself in that manner.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment. Writer and host of the Theory of Change podcast, Matthew Sheffield. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.